Uh-oh. Who'd you find there?
So you're doing this, but what I do for tries is I normally, like everybody else, you know, I'm doing ropes, I'm doing that, but what I've been really doing is nothing new as far as like a variation of like overhead stuff, but like if you have like a single attachment, I'm doing a lot of these.
Nice.
But like this, like how he's doing his, I'm not leaning forward like that. I'm almost standing more straight up and then letting the actual rope pull me back.
Stretch you?
Yeah. I gotta let it. I'm letting
There's
that.
gonna be a lot of this, isn't there? There's gonna be a lot of this because
I'm letting it do its job.
you're doing some other stuff there.
Yeah, I'm letting the machine do its job and with gravity and everything else. Because when you start incorporating like too much of, you know, body English and all that, it's like I may be messing with my angles a little bit too much, and we don't even know why the hell we're doing it.
Right.
I think we're just doing it because we saw somebody else do it, right? But maybe I'm not his height and his length, you know, the width of his frame. And this is just something that I did over the past couple of years. I'm like, okay, let me pull that up, and then instead of coming down like this, I'm like, oh wow, I'm getting more of a stretch.
So we didn't even say this. This is the first time we're training together.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And this is off. Another thing is he already said something that I implemented. And it's just funny because you guys are going to think we're doing this to build muscle. There's something added to the range of motion, the way we're doing it that we'll finish out later on after the workout to explain to you, because the young us didn't know about that.
No.
And so this is
none of this stuff. Young us would come in here. We didn't even really have the pre-workout, you know. It was just taking fat burner.
Take your ephedrine.
Yeah, take your ephedrine and then just go hit it and hope and pray that you'll, you know, get swole.
all right.
Might tear something, you know.
Let's get nasty.
Wait, you're up next.
That's how I warm up. What we're going to do now is we're going to jump over with Phil and warm up the way he warms up as well. So everybody warms up differently. Just take notes on what we're doing. Hopefully you guys can hear everything we talk about here, but the one thing that we already said is he does a big stretch. So you guys know how I feel about stretching. Stretching is the key when we do this stuff. So let's go.
So you see like how everybody was going like further down here and doing it? I stand up, and when I stand up, what happens? This brings me back. So I'm allowing that to happen, so then all I gotta do is just come right here.
So you're getting a mechanical advantage out of that.
And then I'm not stressing my back out or anything like that. And if I want to get more of a stretch, I just walk up forward. That's it. And you just make it work for you.
You guys ain't even seeing the elbows. I love the little details.
Yes. So for me, just getting warmed up, just got off the flight.
Yeah.
I'll get a couple warm-ups in here and then we'll keep it going.
I'm going to follow along.
He's definitely already warm, so this is going to be extra light.
Let's go, Mike. Do this for Kelly.
No, I just want to talk to the kids out there. They don't pick up on the little details.
It's funny you say that because in bodybuilding, it's all about the details. And they want to pay attention to the details.
They want to see A to B. Oh, you push the rope out. Yeah.
Yeah, because they come like super low. And that has its purpose. But for me, I'm opened up here. And you know what it also has done? Especially like after I had those couple surgeries for my hernias and stuff. Core. So when you're down here, you're not really worried about that. But when you come up, you definitely have to keep that tight. You definitely got to keep that tight.
Let me name some other things that you're doing that they don't realize. He's rotating the elbows. He's not in a locked position. Why? Because your elbows rotate, so they can move in and out. He's got I don't know how big his arms are, but they're legs. So he's letting his elbows flare out. Oh, wait a minute, don't ever do that. Of course do that. So there's all those little things that I see and hear about. You know? No, this is you. You have to do this. If you go back and watch Arnold lift, he had a mind and muscle connection, so he can move the way he moved. If you can get the mind and muscle connection, you're Bruce Lee. You can do a 1-inch punch. The problem is that most people don't get that connection, and it takes forever, and so they think you can't move like how Phil moves, and it's like, yeah, you can if you're connected. And again, understand this. Phil's in my belief. You're always an athlete first. Always an athlete first. Always be able to move. So for you guys at home watching all the Instagram things that say you have to do it like this with the elbows and like this, and you can't ever let it flare out or even stretch back further and let it flare out, block them. They're idiots.
Go through your list, start deleting it. Well, you kind of have to at this point in time, because we're always taught, like, as little kids, practice makes perfect. What if you practice the wrong shit?
Yeah.
I know a lot of guys that have a lot of intensity, you know, because they're hopped up on whatever, pushing a ton of weight, and why are they not growing? Because they're not stimulating the freaking fibers. Well, why is that not happening? Well, maybe look at their technique, their tempo, their time under tension, like all those things have to be in a certain sequence for the muscles to say, okay, I'm going to activate in a certain way that's going to yield growth. There's plenty of people that can out bench me, out squat, out deadlift and all that, but they're not able to grow the muscle. And you have to think, like, if a person can bench like over 300 pounds, they don't have a chest, there's a freaking problem with this.
So you guys are just hearing a sounding board now. It's identical. We tell you this. Now you're not just hearing it from me. Okay, whatever. You're hearing it from the man himself now. Now he's just putting a stamp on it, on the things that I said. Can a guy squat 700 without legs? Sure he can. There's something missing though. So go back to that part.
Well, what I heard Phil say was perfect practice makes perfect.
Well, that's kind of what it is.
It definitely makes permanent. Practice will always make permanent. So if you're practicing the wrong things, then that's why you have to slow the things down and ask yourself, what is my true method to my madness? Am I just in here going with reckless abandonment for whatever, just because I'm like, yeah, Phil Heath here, Michael Hearns here, I gotta go freaking train. It's like, yeah, dude, but like, at what cost? Because I damn sure don't want to be in this gym for a couple hours a day, 5 days a week, for 10 freaking years, and I'm not really showing improvement. And we all know people like that, man. And it sucks. Both men and women, we're like, wait a minute. You should still be able to see people get better over that period of time. You know, and obviously what Mike has done is a true testament of that. He's still able to be in control of his physique, and that's what we all want. And the only way you get it is actually by having a plan and then figuring out how it works for you. You definitely are going to take what Mike and I are doing, what we're saying, but then play around with it and then make it work for yourself. It's just the principles, the fundamentals that we're talking about. Like you talk about martial arts and stuff, it's like, make it work for you. That's what this is about. And not be afraid to try new things, but know why you're doing it so you can explain it to your friends. Like, if you can't explain what you're doing, then you're not really I mean, you're beyond young Padawan learner at that point. You'll never be a Jedi. Like, you'll never be, great. You got to know how to explain this stuff, so then you can actually be a student and say, okay, the reason why I'm not growing, or maybe this machine works better than this one. Well, Phil told me to do this machine. It's like, no, he didn't. He said, use this one, see if it works good for you.
Say that again, because what you just did there is what they'll do. They'll take one sentence and change it. You said, Phil said to do this one.
I said, try it, see how you like it. If you're not feeling these things, then get the hell out of there and try something else. They no different than like how some people hit poses a certain way. We don't all hit them the same. You know, usually you do when you're coming up, but after a while you're like, this don't look right on me. Why is that? Because it don't look right on me. And then lifting is kind of the same thing. It's like, because I do a lot of machines because I train by myself. So I have to make sure that I'm using all that engineering for those apparatuses and make it work for my body. Because I've still seen people get, and I think we've seen people get hurt on machines too. Because they're not knowing what the hell they're doing.
Go heavier because it's a machine.
The best is when people will say, man, I thought you lift a lot more. And then I kind of look at the trophy case like you do and be like, well,
good thing I did it.
I mean, yeah, next life. But for my specific purpose, it's always been about how I can make these muscles get round, separated, and conditioned.
I have one question. Do you grip it with almost just circles in your hands?
Yeah, because I'd like to know that, like, if I do it, if I grip it too tight, I'll focus that, I'll think, as it gets heavier, what am I going to do? I'm going to squeeze this more. I'm going to squeeze this more, and I'm thinking, like, I got to do that. But when I'm, like, using very little effort, then I realize what's really pulling that, the actual muscle. My fingers aren't doing it. And again, it's just something for myself.
Small things you guys may not be picking up right now is that the small inside head of his tricep is getting stretched out and worked. Inside, here, the small part. So yeah, the meat's working, but even the smaller parts around that are working. Second thing is he's rotating, which you guys don't have to be so freaking frigid and locked in. You can stretch it. You can rotate that. So all those things when he does this. You, baby. You. What'd you feel like? One more?
You know what I kind of want to do?
Go with it.
We'll alternate. So like, do a tricep movement, then a bicep movement or something.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
I like that.
I got to have a little fun.
Let's do it. He just wants to show him his biceps. You guys are seeing him move through the exercise. I'm actually seeing him pose his arm. So there's a uniqueness to what he's been able to do throughout the years. There's a point where you're going to go from this guy to actually just kind of seeing you on stage hitting it. And so when he's hitting it out, man, there's so much of that muscle. And it's not the rotation, it's not the speed, it's the control. So I know it's tough to see this stuff or analyze it. You lead us. But look outside of the exercise on everything he's doing. The stretch he was doing there, the elbow length that he was doing there. You want to be coming over here, guys? Nah, go ahead. Cool? All right.